Hi, I'm Nicole Yale. I work at LinkedIn's EMEA headquarters in Dublin as part of the marketing solutions team. In short, I work with companies who advertise on LinkedIn to help them understand our best practices and how to get the most out of their marketing activity. From New York, I've lived and worked on 3 continents and have been working in digital marketing for over 11 years. Today, I'm here to help you understand what makes a profile and presence stand out on LinkedIn. We'll cover profile basics, talk about thought leadership tips, and chat about how to use LinkedIn for networking. At the end of today's session, I hope you feel more empowered to tell your unique story on LinkedIn. First up, let's get started with getting to know LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about you, your professional community, and helping connect you to opportunity. We define vision as our true north. It's our dream as a company. It's what drives us every day at LinkedIn. Ours is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. Our vision is followed by our mission. We define mission as our overarching objective. It's something realizable, measurable, and inspirational. This is ours, to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Now that you have a better idea of LinkedIn as a company, let's talk a little bit more about our network. So, how does LinkedIn create value for you? The answer to that question can be summed up by our value proposition. Our overarching value proposition at LinkedIn is to connect to opportunity. And this connect to opportunity is whatever you want it to mean for you, whether that means looking for and getting your next job, building your professional identity, or learning a new skill. And while LinkedIn isn't the end-all be-all solution, we can be the stepping stone to connect you to opportunity. So let's start talking about how you can leverage the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn has some powerful data, tools, and insights that can help connect you to opportunity. This starts with our professional community, where we have over 675 million members and over 200 countries and territories. We have over 740 members on our platform. 57 million companies have a page on LinkedIn. There are millions of open jobs listed on LinkedIn. And last year, there were more than 443 billion feed updates on LinkedIn. Now that you have a better idea of the power of LinkedIn and you've gotten a better feeling for the company and what we do, let's shift gears and shine the spotlight back on you. Your LinkedIn profile is a digital portfolio that represents you and tells your professional story. Think of it less as a resume and more as a dynamic digital portfolio that's engaging, visual, and highlights your experience and skills to help you build your professional presence. Let's kick off this section by giving you some best practice recommendations to strengthen the key parts of your LinkedIn profile, starting with your photo. Make sure that you select a LinkedIn profile photo that truly represents you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to tell your professional community who you are. It can be a professional headshot, but it doesn't have to be. If you snap one on your own, just make sure that the photo is high res, has good lighting, and features you. In fact, did you know that LinkedIn has photo filters that you can use to polish your photo? You can use them by clicking into the pencil to edit your photo. After adding a photo, the next most important thing is to add your name and pronunciation. A great, relatively new feature is the ability to record your name so people who connect with you know how to pronounce it. And recording is simple. You just head to your profile on a mobile app, click View Profile, then Edit, and then record name pronunciation. Try to limit background noise and hold your phone close, but not too close when you're speaking. Next, let's talk about the industry section on your profile. Adding your industry is really important. Often it's how others will find you and add you to their professional network. In addition, adding your industry will give you up to 9 times as many profile views. Members with industry information are discovered up to 38 times more in recruiter searches too. And adding it is simple. Click the pencil at the top of your profile where your headshot and name are, and scroll down to edit or add your industry. Next up, are you open to new opportunities? If so, this next feature will be for you. You can show that you're open to work on LinkedIn. So if you're looking for your next or new opportunity, LinkedIn allows you to set your job preferences. To add this, go to your profile, click on Add Profile section, and select Intro, and click Looking for a New Job. You'll have the ability to specify the job title you're searching for, pinpoint the locations you're interested in, and even select your job type, like full-time or remote. You can also get specific about your start date so that your next opportunity knows how quickly you want to land your next opportunity. Keep in mind, there are 2 ways to share this with your community. The first one is a share with all LinkedIn members, which means you'll automatically have the green hashtag open to work stripe added to your profile photo so that others can instantly see that you're open to new opportunities. Or you can choose to share with recruiters only, which will privately share with recruiters and won't add that green open to work stripe to your profile photo. Okay, now that we've gotten the basics out of the way, let's talk about the profile summary. The About section is where you will add your summary. You can think of this as your elevator pitch. It should include an introduction to you and also highlight your accomplishments and aspirations. Keep it short and sweet. There's no need to list all of your career accomplishments. That's what the experience section is for. Feel free to highlight your unique talents and how you want to contribute, or how you enjoy working with people and what kind of environments you enjoy working in. And did you know that adding a summary of 40 words or more makes your profile more likely to turn up in a future employer search? Short but sweet. Now, let's talk about feature content. The feature content section is something that I often don't see people using, which is a shame because we all have accomplishments that we can show off. And the featured section allows you to showcase the work that you are the most proud of right at the top of your profile. You can share articles, images, documents, and links that help bring your story to life. In addition, featured lets you pin articles or posts that you authored or reshared so that you can feature content that speaks to you to round out your story. Also think about other parts of your profile where you can feature rich media, such as experience and education when you're telling your professional story. Remember that LinkedIn defines rich media as a photo, a video, a presentation, or anything else that visually enhances your profile and makes it more dynamic. And keep in mind, this doesn't have to be content that you own. For example, if your company has a brand video or company brand assets, or you've been featured in media or press, you can use them in your profile, especially in your experience section. And with that said, let's talk about the experience section. Experience is your opportunity to tell your professional story and talk about your accomplishments within each of the roles that you've had. A great way to showcase your experience is to write it in short paragraph form rather than bullet points. You can use a couple of bullet points here and there, but the majority should read like a story, your professional story. If you've worked at a startup company or a smaller company that isn't as well known, give a brief introduction to the company before detailing your experience there. Lastly, it's great to talk about what you did in your role, but it's even better to showcase the impact that you had, the results that you delivered, and the change that you created. Lastly, let's round out your profile with volunteer experience. Adding volunteer experience is a great way to round out your professional identity and uniquely tell your story. Make sure that you add your volunteer experience and give 1 to 2 sentence description of what you did for that specific organization. Almost half of all hiring managers say that they view volunteer experience as the equivalent to formal work experience. It's an important part of your professional identity. Next up, skills. Add skills to showcase what you're great at. Adding at least 5 or more skills can help you get up to 17 times more profile views. Professionals also search key skills across LinkedIn, so it's another great way to be found by your network. And remember, you're in full control of your skills. You choose what order they get displayed in and who endorses you for what. You also control what skills get featured on your profile and which ones don't. Skills are a great way to showcase what you're good at. But now let's shift gears and talk about recommendations. Recommendations are a great way to build your professional credibility. If you don't already have them, request a recommendation from a colleague, manager, or partner. Here's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're requesting that recommendation. Always customize your request. Make sure that you let the person know what you want to be recommended for specifically, whether it's a project or an initiative that you've led. When you make the request, especially when asking senior leaders or executives, sometimes it's helpful to write a first pass to send them. This helps them save time and gives them something to work with that they can edit as they see fit to make their own. You can even send them an outline to work with of key points that you want to ensure are mentioned. And finally, choose people who you have worked closely with and who can provide specific examples of how your strengths, skills, and experiences show up. And finally, when it comes to your profile, don't forget about making sure that you add or update your location. This will help you discover opportunities and connections in your area. Adding your education. You can choose where in your profile it gets displayed. Thinking about whether you have any publications that you've authored. You can add this section to your profile to feature all of your great work. And finally, thinking about the accomplishments that you've achieved as well. Have you received an industry honor or won an award? These types of things are great to feature in the accomplishment section of your profile. Now that we've talked about how to take your profile specifically to the next level, let's talk about how you can leverage LinkedIn to build a strategic network. LinkedIn is a place where you can share your insights, expertise, and opinions with your professional community. There are 2 great ways for you to share professional perspective on LinkedIn. Sharing updates and publishing posts. The first way to share your perspective is a quick and high-touch status update. The second is your opportunity to explore a topic in more detail through publishing. So what's the difference between the 2? Sharing updates is a great way for you to quickly share your knowledge, perspective, and insight on what you care about. Publishing content is a great way for you to explore a topic by writing a long-form post. Here's how you get started with both. Status updates. Get started by sharing a status update on your homepage. You'll see the share box at the top when you sign into LinkedIn, and there are a couple of things that can help your status update stand out from the crowd. Let's talk through what some of those things are. The first best practice, share your authentic voice. LinkedIn is a platform where you can have your voice heard by your professional community. So be authentic, stay on brand, and show up consistently. The second best practice is to post frequently. By sharing frequently, you create more opportunities for you and your content to be discovered. And a pro tip, add a reminder to your calendar to post something once a week or every day. The third best practice, start a conversation. Post something quick and snappy that engages your professional community. Pose a question, provide your perspective on current events, or an article, or give an insider point of view. The more people that engage with the content you post, the more it gets shared and noticed in the feed. The fourth best practice, include rich media like photos and videos to help your post stand out. Posts that include rich media get more comments and likes. And the fifth best practice, think about reciprocity. When you post a status update, think of things that you can share that will benefit your professional community. This goes the other way. Use status updates to pose a question or get insights and thoughts from professionals that you care about. Now that we've talked through some best practices around sharing updates, let's talk a little bit about publishing on LinkedIn and how you can leverage LinkedIn to share your voice, unique perspective, and point of view. Publishing content is a great way for you to explore topics that matter to you and to share your expertise and insights with your professional community. Remember, when you publish content on LinkedIn, it becomes a part of your profile, gets shared with your network, and reaches the largest group of professionals, over 540 million people. Once you've published content, people can follow you to stay on top of what you say and post on LinkedIn. Publishing content on LinkedIn is a great way to establish thought leadership within a community of professionals who matter to you. So how does publishing work? Similar to sharing status updates, you can get started on the home page. Select Write Article as the first step. Let's talk through some quick tips on how you can bring your expertise front and center and have your voice heard on LinkedIn. The first best practice for publishing content. Create a headline that captures attention, something that stands out. Ask yourself, would you click on this in your busy day? The second best practice, include a photo. Always make sure that you add a cover photo as well as photos throughout your article to break up content. Articles with cover photos get more views and comments than those without. It's also important to be authentic. Make sure you show up as your authentic self. You have a lot of experience and expertise, and people want to hear your views, your insights, and your perspective. And think about your audience. Remember to think about your audience and what they would benefit from. Tailor your content to give back to your professional community. And finally, article length matters. You can write a long-form post, but make sure it isn't too long. The sweet spot for article length is about 600 to 1,000 words. The best part about publishing content on LinkedIn is that you have the ability to track metrics and analytics on your published content. To track your progress, simply click the View Stats button within your published article to pull up analytics that will help you target the professionals who can benefit from your perspective and expertise. Track your progress regularly to see how your content resonates with your professional community. And finally, let's spend a few minutes talking about how to use LinkedIn to gain knowledge and insights. LinkedIn helps you stay on top of news, content, companies, and professionals that matter the most to you. So let's talk about what this looks like and how to get a feed that you're interested in and has engaging content for you to read, share, and engage with. Starting with the companies that you're following. You can stay connected to companies that matter the most to you by following them. You can do this by following the company's page. Simply search for them under companies in the search bar. Following a company helps you stay on top of the news, trends, and new product launches for that company. In addition to following companies, you can gain insights by following LinkedIn influencers. You can follow industry influencers to stay on top of key trends, topics, and insights from people who you respect and admire. When you follow an influencer, you can see their activity across LinkedIn in the feed. In addition to gaining industry insights and staying informed on what matters to you, you can also leverage LinkedIn to find what you care about. With the advanced search filters, you can help find what matters to you quickly. Searching for jobs, companies, or people, turn on your desired filter to get all of the most relevant search results. Now that we've covered how to follow companies and influencers, plus search at scale, let's talk about how to customize your LinkedIn experience through the feed. As a member on LinkedIn, we give you full control over your LinkedIn feed. We want to empower you to consume the content that matters the most. You can manage your feed preferences by clicking on the 3 dots on the top right of any post and selecting Improve My Feed. You can also unfollow people, companies, and influencers. And you can hide posts that aren't relevant to you just by clicking the 3 dots on the top right and selecting Hide Post. You can also report inappropriate content if you ever see it, and that's flagged to our team so that they can pull it out of the feed. One of my favorite tips for LinkedIn to follow people, companies, or groups that are interesting is to visit, when you log into LinkedIn, the My Network icon in the top navigation bar. There, you'll find curated recommendations for events that you might be interested in, people that you might know, people that you may have worked with, influencers to follow, and groups that may be interesting for you to join. If you're new to using LinkedIn or haven't used LinkedIn much, it's a great way to start building a feed that's going to be interesting and relevant to you and what you're looking to do on LinkedIn. So next up, I have a break for questions. And usually here, I like to just start by, Yvonne, we can definitely, if there are some questions, we can take those. But I also have a couple of common FAQs that we tend to get. So if it's helpful, I can start by going through those.
Yeah, please do.
Cool. So often we get the question, should I write my profile in first person or third person narrative? As a LinkedIn best practice, we always recommend writing your profile in the first person narrative. It's more authentic and genuine when it comes from you. And we want LinkedIn to be a place where you can bring your authentic self and build your professional community. Another question that we get often, why should I add skills to my profile? It's a quick hit way to showcase the skills that you have, and it helps recruiters find you. It's also an excellent way for a third party to validate the skills that you say you have. And like I said, if you have at least 5 skills on your profile, you are more likely to appear in recruiter searches. Skills are often also handy if you are applying for opportunities through LinkedIn. Many companies that post a listing through LinkedIn choose to specify up to 10 skills in that listing they want candidates to have. So if you have those same skills listed on your profile, there's a better chance that your submission will go towards the top of their virtual pile, so to speak. And you can control the skills and endorsements that are featured on your profile. So if somebody recommends you for a skill, but you don't want to feature it because it's not an important one to you, you have the ability to reject it and to feature something else instead. Another question that we get often, what's the best practice recommendation from LinkedIn around connections? Generally, we recommend quality of connections versus quantity of connections. You should only connect with people that you know. But that said, LinkedIn is a bit more casual than, let's say, other social networks like Facebook or Instagram that tend to be more personal. So for instance, if I meet someone in passing professionally, I might add them on LinkedIn and just add a note to my outreach to say, hey, you know, It was great to see you at this event or this conference, hoping to connect. Or if it's someone I've never met, but that works in my industry, I might send them a connection request and say, hey, I see that you also work in marketing, would love to connect. Since LinkedIn helps to build your professional community, really the most important filter to consider when you're connecting with people is whether or not you want that person added to your community. And we always recommend personalizing the connection request, like in the example I just gave, by adding that brief note. Just remind the other person how you met them or tell them why you want to connect. If you don't work with them on like a day-to-day or weekly or regular basis, it's super helpful to provide context when you're creating that community. And finally, the last question that we get often is, what's the difference between following someone and sending a connection request? Because if you've ever tried to connect on LinkedIn, you may have seen that sometimes the system will prompt you to follow instead. It does that because for people that you don't know well enough to add them to your network, our AI system may recommend that you follow them instead. You still have the choice of connecting if you really want to, but that is sometimes why you see that follow button come up. If you choose to follow, then you still stay in the loop with their activity on LinkedIn and any published posts or content that they create on the platform. And of course, again, for people that you do know and you really want to connect with, definitely send them a connection request. For example, I follow, influencers and thought leaders in marketing and in business, like Richard Branson. I wouldn't connect with him, but I'll follow him because I'm interested in what he may post or share. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah.
Before I leave, though, I do have one ask of all of you. I'm going to share a link for feedback.
Great.
It's a quick survey. It's 5 quick questions. It'll take you less than a minute. 2 of them are optional. And at LinkedIn, we would really appreciate the feedback.